In this video, we will try to understand the current planetary position and how they are emitting a lot of war-related energy. So first of all, you can consider the eclipses. The eclipse happened in the month of April, that's 30th April. So that was a solar eclipse. So every solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day, that is Amavasya. The problem here is after the solar eclipse occurred on 30th April 2022, immediately you can see a lunar eclipse on 16th May 2022. So in astrology, there is a fundamental thing. Whenever there is a solar eclipse, and then immediately within 30 days, if you observe a lunar eclipse, that is going to create a disturbing environment in the society. It generally leads to severe wars, right? So that is one important energy. And of course, the normal natural calamities, right? They are very normal. When eclipses are coming just within 20 days or within 30 days is good enough to make the world calamity prone, you can say. So natural calamities are very much expected. The floods or whatever, the earthquakes, all these things are very much expected. But on top of it, this particular solar eclipse and then lunar eclipse happening in just within less than 20 days is clearly an indication of war related energy. Because one thing is, mundane astrology believes, but it's not believing, it's actually based on the practical scenarios only. They noted that every eclipse creates some change in the world. If there is no eclipse, no change in the world. So that is the fundamental truth, right? And that is the fundamental thing in the mundane astrology, in predicting the world events. So the world is changing because of eclipses, right? So you may say practically the world is changing because of the hard work done by so many scientists, hard work done by so many intelligent people, right? So we generally say that. And the world advances because of that. The world changes because of the people, right? We believe that in practical terms. But according to astrology, the world changes because of eclipses, right? Eclipse is going to give a change energy to the world, right? And of course, the change energy absorbed by the humans would have different thoughts, and in practical terms, those thoughts will lead to some some changes in the world. So that is one thing. So whenever there is a solar eclipse and then immediately lunar eclipse in a few days, that's a war kind of energy. Even the second set of solar and lunar eclipses, I think in the month of October or November, they're going to occur in 2022 itself. They are also occurring in very less time. So obviously this 2022, it's very simple to predict the natural calamities like floods, earthquakes, and all this stuff, right? And on top of it, war energy, because this much of immediate changes can be expected in the world because of wars, right? And also very big events like it can be tsunamis or it can be severe earthquakes, because the immediate changes, right? One eclipse and then within 20 days another eclipse. That is actually showing immediate change. So this kind of immediate changes in the energy can only be expected by tsunamis, earthquakes, severe earthquakes, and big wars, right? And see, you got some choices here, right? So there are going to be severe changes in the world. That's what the eclipses are denoting us. Not only the pair of solar and lunar eclipse, the first pair of solar and lunar eclipse, even the second pair of solar and lunar eclipse that's happening, in the month of October or November, also showing the same thing. So you got some choices here: immediate changes in the world, and the immediate and severe changes in the world can be because of what? Can be because of one thing is, it can be because of severe earthquakes, 2, severe tsunamis, 3, it can be because of severe wars, 4, it can be because of assassination of rulers, right? Only then you can expect some severe changes, or you can say there is an advanced technology coming into the world, very much advanced. You cannot even, it's really impossible to imagine also that kind of technology. When that kind of technology comes to the world, then also you can expect severe changes in the world. Just imagine the mobile phone, right? So it brought a lot of changes in the world. The behavior of humans completely changed because of mobiles and internet and all this stuff. So clearly this immediate changes, right? So they are giving some options for us. But why we are only running after war and war and war? Why? It can be a very great technology also, right? The options we listed out, right? So the planetary positions, what they are showing, based on that, right, we can reduce, right, the list of predictions we had. We discussed till now 5 different predictions, and among them 4 are a kind of negative, and the 5th one is the advanced technology, which seems to be a positive thing when you listen for the first time, but we don't know how it will lead the human society also, right? We are not sure of that. So in a way that can also be negative, because after the invention of internet and mobile, the human race, if you observe, they are not so happy. That is one thing. Now let us see where these eclipses are actually occurring. They are occurring on this Aries Libra axis. The April 31 in the sense the 30th eclipse, that's what I meant. Okay, so that occurred on this Aries Libra axis, and now the May 16th eclipse, if you observe, that also something like let me increase the time. Okay, let us say take some time. Anyways, it's going to occur on this Aries Libra axis only, right? So sometime you can easily consider. So you can just adjust the timing, and you can see it can be 15th May or 16th May, anytime we are having an eclipse. That's what I want to say. And the 2 eclipses are on this Aries Libra axis only. And so Aries Libra axis, now some people say this particular the lunar eclipse, it's actually happening at Scorpio edge in the Visakha nakshatra only, the right, Visakha 4, actually it's happening. So you can consider that as a kind of Scorpio eclipse. But there are different arguments about this. But the Aries Libra on the whole, if you see, Aries Libra is under change, you can say, is under the influence of change. So what is this Aries Libra, the signs? Aries is newborn energy, always the first sign in the whole zodiac. So the first sign is always It's a newborn thing, new energy, fresh energy it is showing us. So when fresh energy can be emanated in the world, when we see fresh energy in the society or in the world, when already existing energy is completely vanished, then you can see a fresh energy, right? Also, when a new technology is coming into the picture, that is also a kind of fresh energy. So fresh energy needs a severe change, right? So severe changes, as we discussed, the severe changes can happen because of this. See, immediate eclipses, Aries Libra axis, immediate eclipses, okay? And then Libra is the world relationship, the relationship among the countries in mundane astrology, we say. So that is Libra. Libra always talks about the relationships, right? So the Aries and Libra is under change, immediate change. We will talk about the eclipses that are going to occur in October or November, whatever, that we will cover in other video. But currently, so what kind of new energy we can expect here, because of what? So the main thing we are seeing is Saturn is in Aquarius. What is Saturn? Saturn is completely against Sun. Sun is government and Saturn is a kind of let us say I want to give a planet to terrorists, then that is Saturn. Saturn is a kind of planet which questions, it acts like a judge, but it is very strict, very disciplined, right? So it has some set of rules and it is very strict in following those rules, and it never listens to anybody. And if the other person is not listening properly, even it will try to show its negative side, the complete negative side of it. That is Saturn, and it is going to be very painful. And that Saturn is in Aquarius. So what is Aquarius? Aquarius is generally the symbolism of gains. It's a symbolism of technology. It's a symbolism of social behavior also, to an extent, right? Even in astrology, small village heads, they have the Aquarius energy. The small village heads are they are related to Aquarius, because Saturn related to agriculture, also related to common people, right? So Saturn's behavior is not so smooth. That is the main thing. Just observe the behavior of Jupiter. Jupiter's behavior is kind of smooth, it's soft, right? And Venus is also a kind of soft, and right? Saturn is not soft. Saturn is a kind of it has some kind of terroristic ideas and negative ideas. So here Aquarius is the Mula Trikona house of Saturn. So Saturn is going to finish its work in Aquarius, because Mula Trikona house is nothing but the office, right? Saturn is going to perform its duty in Aquarius in one single line, right? It has to. See, Capricorn is the own house of Saturn. So just imagine you are in your own house. Then that is, right, like Capricorn for Saturn. And let us say you are in your office. How you behave? In office you are always duty minded. You try to do your duty, whatever may be your tensions and all the stuff, right? You try to perform your duty. So Saturn is in office now. So let us say if you are a lecturer in a government college or in a private, whatever college, in a college, generally you try to explain something, right? Or if you if you are a politician, if you are an MLA, member of Legislative Assembly, then you try to, take care of your constituency, whatever, right? And if you are a software professional, let us say, you try to act accordingly in your office. You may try to involve in some kind of programming, or you do some kind of discussions or whatever, you participate in meetings, right? So this is the duty, right, of different people. What about the duty of Saturn? What is Saturn basically? Saturn wants discipline. Discipline of what? Discipline of this particular world, right? Saturn wants to give something. Saturn always, it tries to give something to the world. It's a kind of selfless worker also, you can say, right? Just see the daily wage earners, how much work they do and how much amount they get, right? They get very nominal amount, but they work a lot, right? So they do a lot of work, but expect a very little amount, and they are satisfied with that amount, right? So that is Saturn. So Saturn always wants to give something to the society. It is selfless, but at the same time, it is also terroristic in nature. So whenever Saturn is very much stronger, it generally gives some difficulties to the rulers. So currently Saturn is very much stronger, and Mars is joining this particular Saturn. So Mars is the general commanders, the police, whatever. So Saturn is against them generally. Saturn is against the government, because Sun is at the center in the solar system and Saturn is the outermost planet. If you see the solar system, Sun is at the center, and then you can see Mercury, then Venus, then Earth, Moon, then Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Saturn is the outermost planet, Sun is the innermost planet. Sun is introvert, Saturn is extrovert. Saturn is an external planet, right? Completely opposite to Sun. Of course, it's the son of Sun, but at the same time, it is completely opposite. So it's against the government generally. So when Saturn is very much powerful, government generally it may not be very much happy, right? And at the same time, here Jupiter is at least in its own house. It's a kind of, it's comfortable. It's comfortable. Jupiter represents world finances, a finance of a government. So I want to tell you, this Jupiter may be, a kind of a happy Jupiter, but at the same time it is hemming between Rahu, the Saturn-Mars conjunction. The Saturn-Mars conjunction at one side and Rahu at other side. So the Jupiter-Venus conjunction, which seems to be very much happier. So Venus represents world happiness. So the world happiness and the world finances under pressure. It seems to be they are very much happier. Jupiter seems to be very much happy because it is in its own house. So the world finances seem to be a kind of okay, but it's not. And the world happiness, that is Venus, seems to be okay, but it is not. Because these two are hemming between the Saturn, Mars one side and Rahu at the other side. And it's a kind of pressurized situation for the world finances and the world's happiness. Even more, if you say, if Saturn is not happy, then it can create wars very much easily. And I want to tell you one more thing, why this particular Vedic New Year of 2022 is not so good. So once upon a time, they had an idea of Vedic New Year. So they had three varieties of notions about Vedic New Year. The first one is Chaitra Shukla Padyami, in the Chaitra Masa. Masa means month in Sanskrit. The Shukla Paksha means every Masa, means every month is divided into 15 days. So 115 days is 2 Pakshas. So Paksha means the 15 days. One is the Shukla Paksha and the one is the Krishna Paksha. Shukla Paksha is where the moon increases its whiteness and finally you see the Paurnami day, the full moon day, and Krishna Paksha is where you see a waning phase of moon, the whiteness of moon decreases and finally you find the Amavasya, the new moon day. So in the Chaitra Masha, in the Shukla Paksha, the first day, Padyami means the first day, the Pratipada or the Padyami you say, right? That is called as the New Year day. So in this also there are some discussions, something like, let me show you the new moon day of this particular year 2022 that happened on April 2nd. Why April 2nd? Because that is the Chaitra Shukla Pratipada. But if you observe the first, that is 1st April 2022, Amavasya was up to 11:53 a.m. only. After that you got the Pratipada, right, Padyami. So you may think April 1st itself, the April 1st which was the Friday itself was the Chaitra Shukla Padyami, but it is not. Why? Padyami actually came on 11:54 a.m. on that day, right? The first day already came on 11:54 a.m. on that Friday, but in Vedic culture, every day is celebrated, every day is noted after sunrise, because sun is treated as the living God, right? So after sunrise, what is the day? That is the reference. So 1st April is considered as, here it's considered as Amavasya only, it's not the Pratipada, right? Because on the sunrise on the day was 6:11 a.m. So on 6:11 a.m. what was the day? That was Amavasya. So April 1st 2022 was Amavasya. And what about April 2nd? If you see April 2nd, the sunrise was on 6:10 a.m. and Pratipada was up to 11:58 a.m. So on 6:10 a.m. you have the Pratipada at the sunrise. So April 2nd was the Chaitra Shukla Pratipada. So that was also called as Ugadi, right? And in Maharashtra they say a Gudi Padwa, right? And in Karnataka they have a different name. So but generally 2nd April 2022 was the Chaitra Shukla Padyami, where the new year, the Vedic New Year started, and it was on Saturday. And who is the king of Vedic New Year? There's a concept called king of Vedic New Year. Here the king of Vedic New Year is Saturn, because the new year came on Saturday. Saturday, that's Saturn. So whenever Saturn is the king of New Year, he's going to create a lot of problems, for the ruler, if and only if he is very much powerful. If he is not very much powerful, if he is not in a good position, then he cannot do anything to the ruler. But if Saturn is very much powerful during that year, he is going to give a lot of problems to the rulers. And the same thing happened. If you observe Saturn, actually after 2nd April 2022, you just observe the day 2nd April 2022. What happened that day? That time Saturn, of course, he was very much powerful, and after that, around I think April 30th or something, April 30, right? Saturn moved into Aquarius, right? So Saturn became very much powerful. So he is very much easily can trouble the governments all around the world. Rulers are going to have very bitter days, and especially the 75 days, where in these 75 days Saturn will be in Aquarius. So for these 75 days means Saturn will retrograde and come back to Capricorn, and of course again it will go to Aquarius. So generally Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years, and for those 2.5 years, right, it is going to perform its duties in Aquarius. But for the 75 days, means from April 30, May, June, So June, and then you can find till some, yeah, July 14th or sometime till that time, around 75 days almost. April, so May, June, July. So May, June, 30 plus 60, so 30, 30, 60, and this 14 days or whatever. So totally there's 75 days from April 30 onwards where you can find Saturn in Aquarius. Very powerful. Who is the king of Vedic New Year? Saturn. For this year, 2022 Vedic New Year. So there are other ways of finding the Vedic New Year where they consider sun. Based on sun they predict, means when sun enters Aries, that too in Ashwini Nakshatra 0 degrees, they consider that day as the New Year day. That generally comes on 13, 14 or 15th April, where sun generally moves into Aries. And another way is actually when Chaitra Shukla Pratipada started. As I showed you just now I showed you, right? On the 1st April itself, some people say that would be the New Year, but because Amavasya was up to 11:53 a.m. only, and 11:54 a.m. onwards we have Pratipada. So 1st April considered to be the first day of the Vedic New Year, and Friday is so Venus would be the king of New Year, some people say, but it is not correct. So this particular argument is ruled out by almost all the astrologers. So sunrise, after sunrise, what is the day? That is the reference in Vedic culture. And see, when you are considering Chaitra Shukla Padhyami, you are taking the reference as both sun and moon, because on the Amavasya day, that is on April 1st, if you observe, sun and moon both are in the Meena Rashi, right? Sun and moon both were in the Pisces, in the sign of Pisces. So it's a kind of when you are celebrating a new year after Amavasya, that is Chaitra Shukla Padhyami, then you are taking the reference of both sun and moon, right? And when you are considering April 13, 14, 15, any of these 3 days, generally you can see sun coming into the sign of Aries, and if you consider that day as a new year, then you are only considering sun as the reference. So a book called Kala Prakashika considered this particular sun entering into Ashwini Nakshatra should be treated as the new year, where people consider sun as the reference, and generally in Vedic culture we consider both sun and moon in pairs as a reference, and that is the day Chaitra Shukla Padhyami. So that Chaitra Shukla Padhyami is this year came on 2nd April 2022. So after sunrise, just check the Chaitra Shukla Padhyami, that is the new year. So obviously 2nd April, which was the Saturday, right, was the Chaitra Shukla Padhyami, and Saturn was noted as king, and he is going to be the king for 2022 till next April, where you can find another Chaitra Shukla Padhyami day. Now, as Saturn is the king, he is going to trouble the government. He is going to actually, Saturn is the representation of strikes, small social problems. Also against the government, so many people talk against the government, and this kind of things happen. And one more thing is, if this particular Saturn is very much powerful, then big wars also can be predicted. That is written in Brihad Samhita. In Brihad Samhita you can clearly find this Vedic New Year concept, and there Varahamihira clearly noted, right, when Saturn is the king of New Year, it is going to create some kind of problems to the rulers, and if this particular Saturn is very much powerful for that year, then it is going to create wars. So this Saturn is powerful because this Saturn came to Aquarius. He is the king of Vedic New Year, and at the same time he is very, very powerful. If he is not powerful, then we we can be a kind of safe, but we means the rulers generally, right? And thereby, if rulers are in trouble, obviously they may not be very happy and they may not rule very nicely. So obviously, this particular, the whole episode, whatever you check the eclipses, you check the Vedic New Year concept, you check the Saturn's behavior, and you check Jupiter, Venus hemming between Rahu the other side, Saturn, Mars the other side. Everything is a kind of chaotic situation. And even this Saturn, when Saturn is a king of New Year, and also is very powerful, he can create some viral diseases also, right? So the Saturn is not a normal Saturn, and when it is with Mars, it's a kind of war situation only. You can always find a Saturn Mars conjunction is a kind of chaotic, and when it got some more and more importance, just like the Saturn and Mars met at 28 degrees Capricorn, we made the other some video 4th April. So that was a chaotic situation. Just imagine that. You can clearly relate that to the Russia-Ukraine war, whatever happened, and in some cities there were around 4th April, right? Around 4th April there were severe killings happened. So that you could relate with this Saturn Mars conjunction at 28 degrees Capricorn. That was a kind of very much painful. So that also showing a kind of war situation, and we made those videos as well, and the war energy is being pumped up, right, every time. So everything is noting this, means it's giving a signal, you can say, right? So that is one thing. And Rahu Ketu and the Aries Libra axis. So in the fiery Aries, Rahu is the demonic thing, is not so it's not so comfortable for the rulers as well, because the Saturn is also watching Rahu with its third aspect, and Saturn's third aspect is really painful. So that is one thing to be noted here. And the relationship among the countries is just unidirectional. There is no direction here for the relationships among the countries. It's also a kind of an unwanted and directionless, you can say, the relationship among the countries. So too much of war energy, the whole thing is a kind of pain and death. So the only way is to come out of this kind of situation is here Jupiter and Venus under struggle, right? Because of this hemming between Saturn, Mars and Rahu. At least this Jupiter is a kind of in its own house, and Venus is exalted. So in some countries you can expect some kind of at least a normal financial situation and a kind of happiness, just what you can see in India, because India is a Pisces ascendant thing, but still it is under pressure. So it's a kind of, the game is not at started kind of energy, you can say, but still it is under pressure. Saturn, Mars, the Rahu is here. So as you move ahead, it's going to create problems. So better, every country checks for the military of its own military. What is the capacity of its military? Every country has to check, because it's ensuring war. Every time, the Saturn Mars conjunction Capricorn 28 degree, ensuring Mars, ensuring some kind of war. And even the 28th February, that particular planetary situation that ensured some kind of war, right? Even in the January month, I think we made one video that was also signaling war. So continuously the universe is sending the war signals. So even this one, the eclipses, of course, the immediate eclipses are the indication of the natural calamities also, because the changes are very much immediate. So immediate changes can happen with natural calamities as well, natural disasters as well. But why we are talking about wars more? Because here Saturn Rahu has some relationship. Saturn is watching Rahu, right? Saturn is watching Rahu, and Mars is also involved here. Mars is a war planet. And the main thing, whenever you see this, you immediately note the Saturn is watching Rahu. That's a kind of painful situation. And Mars is in conjunction with Saturn. That's another painful, chaotic situation where the Saturn and Mars are the strongest enemies, you can say. And in between you observe the Jupiter Venus, right? It's a kind of interesting thing, and at the same time a very difficult situation. So continuously the war things are, signals are coming. So that's it. Even we will try to make another video. Let's try to see the if you find the Saturn placement, the nakshatra, it is in the nakshatra of Mars, Dhanishta. Mars nakshatras are like the Chitra, Mrugashira, and then the Dhanishta, Mrugashira, Chitra, and Dhanishta. In that, Dhanishta is a kind of full pumping of Mars energy, Martian energy. It has more Martian energy compared to any other nakshatra. But Saturn is there, and even Mars is in the Jupiter nakshatra, at least, right? It has some backing up from the government, you can say, the Mars, whether the commanders or the soldiers, so backing up from the government. But whereas Saturn is really it's very strongest by its position, Aquarius, in its own Mula Trigona house, and it's in the star of Mars. So Saturn is really painful here. It's going to do something painful to the rulers. Rulers have to be very much careful for the next 75 days, right? So that is one thing. And remaining are fine, Venus and Jupiter. Rahu is, of course, it's always it's not so comfortable here, right? It's raising kind of. So 75 days, difficult situation for the rulers all around the world. That is the theme of this whole thing. Thanks for watching this video.